Fala galera, tudo bem? CultDAO-BR aqui de novo. Como é que vocês estão? Como prometido, essa é a segunda parte da entrevista com os cofundadores do projeto Cult DAO. Demorou um pouquinho para legendar essa segunda parte, ele é um pouquinho maior, um pouquinho mais longo. Por favor, deixa seu like aí para fortalecer o canal, para a gente poder falar desse projeto para outras pessoas e o canal ter mais relevância aqui no YouTube. Também se inscreve no canal, ativa as notificações para você ficar ligado nas novidades. E uma coisa bem legal que está acontecendo é a interação com a comunidade. Se você tem alguma pergunta ou gostaria de ver algum vídeo em específico, deixa nos comentários, que aí a gente vai trabalhando nesse sentido de poder trazer algumas coisas que vocês querem ver também. Então é isso, galera. Espero que vocês gostem e vamos lá.
Planning to do an investment with,
Okay.
and worked out what exactly that process would look like, how much we want to invest, what actually goes into funding those protocols, what actually goes into actually buying that buying the tokens from those protocols, what we get in return when they start selling those tokens and actually buying back Cult to pay that back to us. When those rewards are paid back to us,
Okay.
50% of it is actually burned, and then 50% of it is passed in the form of rewards to stakers.
That's
in the form of Cult
rewards, right?
Yeah, exactly. So they have Cult that's claimable on the DApp, right? That they could just click claim, they got to pay gas to claim it, but then it ends up in their wallet.
Right.
Each proposal is 15.5 ETH worth of Cult. So sometimes folks get that confused, so it's important to explain. They think it's 15.5 ETH. It's really just 15.5 ETH worth of Cult. The treasury is in Cult. It's just valued in ETH.
Okay.
And 13 ETH of Cult is what goes into the funding. 2.5 ETH worth of Cult is actually burned with each proposal that's passed. So
it's just straight up the token
exactly
that's being given to these VCs. Do they sell it on the other exchanges to fund their VCs, or how does that work?
No, so it just really depends. So like one of the proposals, one of the first ones we passed was a proposal called like Falcon 9 Launchpad,
Okay.
which is one of the ones that I did. They had a launch pad for future decentralized projects. And so what I liked about that was we can secure an allocation for other projects for our pipeline moving forward.
All right.
So the way that works is we fund part of it to the devs to help them continue to develop that launch pad. Some of it was to buy the token to secure an allocation. They also agreed to send back some customized NFTs, Cult related, which is super cool. So that's just one example.
Are those the Cult NFTs that we see, or are they different?
They're different. They're different. So they're kind of honorary NFTs where another separate team is developing it.
Okay, that's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, it's super cool. So it's like one way. It's pretty interesting. You go on Twitter now and you see Mr. Amaljo's talking a lot about Stone Soup. And there's so many people, asking like, what is Stone Soup? Like, that's such a weird thing to say. It's actually like a European folklore where you donate some of your soup to others and you enrich others, and in turn they donate back to you and they enrich you. So
okay, that makes a lot of
sharing,
sense.
Right, to do that. And so what we do when we invest in other protocols, we educate that community on Cult DAO, right? So then they come to join our community. Cult DAO community members then are educated on that community, so they join them, and then you all start working together for a common good to further decentralization.
That's how it all makes sense. You don't scare investors either. Yeah,
exactly. So it's super cool.
It's a ripple effect. And I mean, it's how you get people like Harry on here. Harry, if you'd like to introduce yourself to the community and tell us a little bit about your story, about your spaces that you're going to do on 6 p.m., about how you got into Cult DAO.
Hey, Classic Crypto. First of all, you live up to the name. You're looking classy as
I'm trying my best.
You're looking classy. I had to leave my camera off for that reason.
No worries. I'm kind of blocking you, but
but yeah, thank you for having me on here. I'm just one of the many. I'm just like any other investor. It was the rumor that got me here initially.
The Shiba Inu one.
Yeah, that's the one. So I read a Medium article by, I think it was someone called Ryoshi Research or something.
Okay.
And Medium article just over 3 weeks ago, 3 weeks and 3 days ago. And when I read that Medium article, I was like, what is this guy getting onto? Let me look at Cult. And after reading the manifesto, it was game over for me. Honestly, I read it and I was like, this just sings along with me. Like what Jeff said, some of the issues don't directly hit me, but we can see what's happening in the world, but some do. And I was like, I want to be part of this, because if this, I mean, don't get me wrong, one project will not change everything, but it's a step towards the right direction. And if this is funding proposals which are looking to do the right thing, then we're kind of propelling that. So I was like, let me look into it further. So I started getting into it, got into the Telegram. I think there was only like 800 people or just below that at the time. So it's still quite early. And I was like, okay. And then I invested a little bit and I was like, right, let me just speak to the people. Jeff was there from, he's been there, I think, well before. He was there from day one. So he's rode out the whole 2 months of it actually dipping below presale. Yeah. So, I mean, he's had the hard slog, So for us, it's been quite easy, to be honest. We've seen it rock up, but the main thing was the manifesto. So I read the manifesto, and it was one of my friends actually that kind of pushed the narrative towards me. And since then I've just been pushing it, following rule number 1. So I think one of the biggest things for me is that the Mr. O is not looking for clout here. He's literally letting it run. He's on Twitter. Yep, he's pushing rule number 1, right? Which is fine, because that's preached to everyone. You know what? Speak about Cult DAO, and that's it. But apart from that, he's got no real say because the contract's renounced, which is absolutely fantastic. And I know I can see some comments in the feed, people saying, "Oh, there's no one's doxed or anything like that." But when someone has stuck in $9 million and locked the liquidity for 265 years, I'm sure he's really not going to be bothered.
And it's a lot of liquidity.
It's a lot of liquidity. And then on top of that, the tokenomics are genius, and everything's been thought of. You've got the dev at the top, who's not looking for clout, doing his own thing. No one knows who it is. Being KYC'd as a well-known crypto founder. You know what? That's bullish as anything. Feed it down. Right. You've got the guardians. The guardians are picked out of the community, respectable people that are in this space, or people that have genuine interests, towards the right goal. Right. And then you've got the guardians can't vote, the many can vote. So it filters down really nicely that there's no real overlap of people trying to play the system, but at the same time trying to deliver as cleanly as possible, as decentralized as possible. And that sits really well with me, coming from a space where I work for quite a reputable VC, and we see many projects, even personally, I've been rugged so many times. And at the end of the day, when a contract's renounced, when you look at the manifesto, it's not, people are forgetting, people are coming and saying, where's the roadmap? There's no roadmap here. This was set up and ready to go, Yeah. That's the amazing bit about it. There's no roadmap saying...
I mean, they already finished the roadmap, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. There's no roadmap saying phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. It's done. It's ready. Read the manifesto and get involved. And if you want to, no financial advice.
Yeah, of course.
Better say that. But yeah, it's just honestly, how do I even explain it? I love being part of it because the community is amazing. The vision, it's all about the vision here. Because You know what? There's loads of projects you can dip out in and out with. And yeah, there's a lot of people here for the money. But how I see it is I would rather put my money towards a better goal than just going for a pump and dump or anything else. There's loads of things out there, isn't there? But I'd rather stick it somewhere where there's a vision, there's a goal, and it can go towards some good,
Yeah, for a lot of people, it really fogs reality when you're chasing a lot of these pump and dumps to become the next millionaire. But in all reality, the only reason I'm in cryptocurrency for the most part is for the vision of crypto, which is decentralization, true decentralization to the masses and giving power back to the individual. I mean, I have so much power now that I can just plop my money anywhere in the world and not have to worry about my bank account being denied of a purchase. So just in that aspect, no government can tell me I can't do something. And Cult DAO is supporting this. Cult DAO has done everything. There's nothing that can come out that would be unexpected from Cult DAO, which is the main point that I like to drive forward with Cult DAO, that it's all out there, it's all done. Jeff, these guys, they all have a role specific in Cult DAO, including me, I guess, right? We're nobody, we're Cult DAO, right? We all make up the individual parts that make up the beauty that is this token. And with it being so early at 13,000 holders, I mean, this is just something that's just kicking up. And it's like that infinite money machine where if you go ahead and promote all these other projects and they come back to you with the VCs, that's how VCs work, right? They get their funding, they come back, go to the next project, they get all these connections, and then people eventually just know, okay, well, this is that guy that gives us the funding. I love this guy. Let's go ahead, get our investors in here interested so we can get these proposals out there. So it's just infinitely just more and more communities get interested in DAOs. And if you run a DAO the right way, because we've had issues with DAOs in the past with hacking and proposals and all these things, there's enough time for these proposals to get filtered out. But on top of that, the way they run the proposals, it's ingenious. It's a specific amount of Ethereum. It's a specific amount of burn. It's a specific way that you do all these things. And you see the proposals on Discord all the time with how in-depth they go in teaching people what these projects are. And if you're looking for new crypto projects, why not listen to the whales, the guys that are already top 50 holders? These guys have money. They've got connections. They probably know what the next best project is. Most of the time, right? So not financial advice, but that's also a big thing to drive forward with Cult DAO. As much as I'd like to say, you know, Harry and me are great for Cult DAO, we're all great for Cult DAO. That's what the many is. That's what the Guardian is. That's the point of the entire movement, that we don't matter. The entirety of everything matters. Every single one of the holders, they make an impact. In fact, there are votes that pass with billions, barely billions of votes. And that's because the little guys decide to get in there and have their voice heard. Just like, I think there was like Bank of Ryoshi that barely got denied. It was like 54% to 46%. So even the biggest of votes can have the impact from the many that make things happen. That's the beauty of Cult DAO. That's the easiest way of explaining it. I don't know exactly how token vesting works for Unicrypt. If you could explain that, Jeff. That's kind of a question that I've had, and I'm sure that many people also have that question.
Yeah, I'm going to let Artorias. Do you want to speak more on that? You're definitely more the technical guy.
Yeah.
And I think that'll be better.
Yeah, sure. The vesting is purely just the wallets given to the developers that worked on the project by way of compensation. So there's nothing more. There's nothing more to it than that, honestly.
So it's just a specific amount of tokens given. They unlock in a certain period of time. Do we know what time periods these are?
Yeah, it's linear locks that 12 months from
12 months.
1st of February 2022 to 1st of February 2023.
Got it. So every month is just a bit of the percentage of that pre-sale being unlocked.
Yeah, so it goes block by block. So every 15 seconds, every block on Ethereum, the next bit gets released.
Oh yeah. And how many people were in that pre-sale too?
In total,
just an estimate, yeah.
239 people participated in the pre-sale.
Okay, so
they bought before the platform was even out. They bought that.
Yeah, because the platform for Cult DAO came out. What was it, like 3-4 weeks ago?
No. The staking app was released the day after. The day after the pre-sale. Yeah.
Oh, so like off the bat, you had it.
Yeah, it was a working product on the day everyone's tokens.
That's why Jeff got in there.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Exactly. But it's just funny that how, because when we launched, it was quite slow. It was a very slow start, honestly. A month ago we were at 300,000 market cap,
right?
Which is insane. So it took about 6 weeks to fill the treasury for the first proposal, just to get to the 15.5, which was what we initially. So we didn't renounce the contract straight away because we needed a live test. So we had to wait for that first proposal to go through, and then contracts would be renounced, and that's it.
To make sure it works. Yeah.
Exactly, in case we needed to make any changes. So, and it just so happened that as that happened, the first proposal went through. All the people that staked, they got rewards, and we renounced the contracts, and then we just hit this whirlwind. And if you look at the treasury now, there's like 1,200 ETH worth of Cult in there now, and it's just crazy.
Yeah, it just went crazy.
We were literally, so me and Mr. Omodulus, we were actually sending our own Cult into the treasury to try and boost it.
Oh yeah,
just to get that first proposal through. So
and that was hard. I remember that. That was like a long 2 months of us trying to get the word out and talk about Cult, really, and it was tough, right? Because $0 in marketing budget to do that.
Exactly. And then it all kicked off, and now it went from being like a couple of $1,000s of volume a day, for the last week or so before it kicked off, and now we're doing 30 million to 100 million in the last 3 weeks, per day.
And exchanges are listing you for free.
It's insane.
Yeah, when I saw the Gate.io listing, I did not expect that. So quickly as well.
Well, it didn't feel that quickly for us. We've been talking to them for ages.
Oh, were you? So I presume you're talking to other people too. Possibly. Yeah, of course.
I can't be specific, but we talk to a lot of people.
Of course, yeah, no. And that's the exciting thing. You guys have been waiting for so long. You must have been planning for this moment, weren't you? Or just randomly stumbled upon this?
Say that again, sorry? What do you mean?
Have you guys been planning for the moment that Cult DAO pumped? Were you planning connections, all these kinds of things? Or did it just kind of happen and the community built in itself?
Yeah, honestly, it feels like it happened itself. We've been working on it since it launched, since the beginning of the year, but we weren't expecting for it to explode in the way it has.
Right.
But yeah, we kind of just rolling with it, and the community stepped up. People like Jeff, people like Harry, everyone that's like in the Discord. You've got all the overseers and the guardians. They're all having these discussions about proposals. It's amazing how the community has sort of it's taken the mantle, and it is almost running itself, which is what we always wanted.
Right. And could you explain a little bit more regarding the overseers? Are these just Discord moderators, or do they play a role?
So they're just the Discord moderators. So it's just because we have it set up so that we have a Guardian specific channel, which is basically where all the Guardians can talk about the proposals they're planning, or they can discuss what ideas people have got and whether they think that they're legitimate and are worthy of being put through on the project's behalf. And having the overseers was a way of having the moderators that could just, they could manage the regular chat, but they could also see what was going on,
right,
in the other channels like that. So yeah, it's not a separate utility in the protocol. They're just the moderators. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's pretty fair. Yeah, that's usually what it is. But in case a Guardian does something nefarious for the project, is there any way that we can combat it other than just slamming in tokens to try to refuse the proposal?
That's it. It's it's decentralized.
So that's just how it works.
That's how it works. Yeah. So
okay,
you're relying on the goodwill of the many to do the right thing, and if they see something that they think is this isn't right, there's not enough detail, or
right,
like the wallet they've chosen to send the funds to looks a bit suspect. People have to do. It's like if you invest in any other coin, you should do your research on your proposal projects, just like you would a project that you want to buy, right? It's you're relying on people to do their own research, and similarly in Discord we have workshops set up for each proposal, so that people can ask questions directly of either the project that are doing it or the guardians that are proposing it on behalf of the projects, for example. So that's a good way to get a feel for whether it's something that deserves your vote. Are people being openly transparent, or are they has someone put this through without telling anyone and there's no information whatever, that's
right.
kind of a red flag, you know.
So you're just giving the VC power just to the masses, to the many.
Exactly.
And the good thing about that is, you know, they'd have to do a bunch of proposals to try to drain out anything. So that's the thing.
Yeah. It's like if a bad egg gets through, that's 13 ETH of Cult out of, you know, 1,200. Right?
Yeah.
So it's, you know, we obviously don't want stuff to slip through the net like that, but you know, if one bad project gets through, people are going to learn from that mistake
and it won't kill the project. That's the important part.
Exactly.
Yeah, classy. And I don't mean to interrupt, but you've seen like some situations where people buy, of course you have. You've seen Cult, right? You see people buy Cult, they stake it and become a guardian, and they put a proposal through because for the project that they're actually running.
Yep.
And then they unstake, and then they're just chilling around, and then they don't get passed because a lot of the many who are the voters sees it as a red flag. You know, it doesn't make them a bad project. It's just a lot of people are concerned by that. So
it's not the right way of going about it. Yeah.
What we're starting to see is the ones that are getting passed. It's the Guardian's job to convince the many to earn their vote. And so what I'd love to see is more and more Guardians getting involved, doing like Twitter Space AMAs or things like that with those different projects. So the many could come up and ask questions. Like I had a situation where I put a proposal through and I was getting a lot of flack for it. And people thought it was a rug or a scam or something like that. And they set up an AMA, and that cleared up a lot of confusion and made people more comfortable. And they ended up voting it to pass. So that's just kind of how I see this thing working moving forward. The best way.
Just the Guardians have to be more active in the way they propose things and convince people to actually buy it. Just like you would doing your pitch decks for projects normally on VCs, right? That's how you 100%. Get your funding. So yeah, no, 100%. I think people have been talking about the activity of Guardians. Of course, for Cult in its price and in its security, we don't really care long-term about these things because somebody's going to step up at some point, right? But overall for Cult, I think they've done everything. It's just ingenious, everything they've done for a DAO. I think this is going to be the first properly funded DAO that works with a treasury that doesn't just get drained. That's the beauty of Cult DAO, the way Omodulus made it, the way the community is just telling people how it works, right? And overall, you know, that's kind of the reason that we started covering Cult DAO in the first place. And so you saw over there, the Zoom call ended. That was kind of essentially what we were going to go over for Cult DAO. Of course, there's more that we will be discussing, but if you want to go ahead and catch up on Cult DAO and learn more about Cult DAO, I'm going to give you guys a Twitter link. First off, I'm going to give you guys the actual link over here for the manifesto. But more than that, we're going to be talking with Harry, and Harry is going to be having a Twitter space at 6 p.m. Eastern time. We're going to be talking with Artorias. Everybody's going to be there. Don't forget it, 6 p.m. Eastern time with Harry. I will be there on the Twitter spaces. So go ahead, give this guy a follow. This was a pretty short stream. I hope you learned something about Cult DAO. I hope everything went well for you. My name is Classy Crypto. Be sure to go ahead, slap that like, slap that subscribe. I'm probably going to be making more of these Cult DAO videos in the future, so stay